I was listening to the news when it was announced that another girl was missing. The fifth missing person is named Jessica, and like the others, she is 160 centimeters tall. The speculations are based on the fact that the kidnapper only targets girls who are exactly 160 centimeters tall and their families. The victims are having a tough time. Please call the number below if you see anything suspicious. 5 people have gone missing in our neighborhood, and apparently, all of them were kidnapped by one person because all the victims were 160 centimeters girls. According to the police, the kidnapper is a sex patient who likes 160 centimeters girls. Serial kidnappings continued for several months. Unfortunately, they could not find the location of the missing persons, so the investigation into serial kidnappers continued for several months. There were no witnesses at the time of the kidnappings. My mom used to say, "Kylie, come straight home after school. Never go anywhere alone. I'll follow you." My mom followed the news every day and was very worried about me. Alki's mom was worried about me. I told my mom that I was 162 centimeters. Mom said, "Don't say that. You always have to be careful." All the victims were 160 centimeters. It was as if they had measured their measurements with a ruler before the robbery. I am also cautious. I told my mom this to put her mind at ease. But I was afraid. I was returning home from school with my friends when I saw all the police cars and ambulances parked near the forest of our village. The missing people were found buried in different parts of the forest. Some of them were decomposed and nothing but skeletons were left. According to the police, the criminal was probably a butcher who was able to cut the skin from the dead body very cleanly and professionally. All the butchers in the village were interrogated, but the investigation did not reach anywhere because no evidence was found. After that, no other abductions happened, but 160 centimeters girls no longer went out alone, and some families left the village to take care of their girls. I was on my way home from school when a woman came out of her yard and greeted me. I said hello to her. She told me that you live here. I am Luna and our family is here. I greeted her and said that I was Keely and I lived in this village. He said that it has become very dangerous these days. I mean, because of the serial murder. Be careful when you walk alone in the village like this. I said that I am also afraid, but I don't think there will be any problem for me. If something happens to me, Luna said, but you have to be careful. I have a daughter myself. Her name is Niaz. I'm worried these days. Luna turned back and pointed to the window of the second floor and said that she needed that room. He said that my child is 1 meter and 60 centimeters tall. That's why I don't let him leave the house at all. He saw you from the window of his room and begged me to let him play with you. And I came to say that you can play with him. I looked at the window of the second floor and he was standing behind the window looking at me. I said, "Does he know my needs?" He said that means he hasn't left the house for a long time, so it has become his routine to look out of the window. I think he sees you. He wants to be friends with you. Would you like to play with Needs today? It's an apple pie. I cooked it deliciously. I said yes for sure. I followed Luna. She had a beautiful house with floral wallpaper and stylish furniture. There was also a wooden table in the middle, and there was a green sewing machine. It looked like Luna was sewing and embroidering a dress. It was a tortoise dress. "I am looking at the sewing machine," he said with a smile. "I was sewing because of need. I always sew my daughter's clothes myself. Her clothes are very beautiful. If you become friends with Need, I will sew clothes for you too. Let's go to the second floor and meet Need." We went to the second floor and Luna knocked on Need's room and he called and told Niaz that I brought a friend. He opened the door and saw Niaz sitting on his bed and waving to me without saying anything. His head was down. Like shy people, I smiled kindly and introduced myself to Niaz. "Hi Niaz, I'm Kelly. I came here to be friends," Niaz said in a thin voice. "Hello, Keely, thank you for coming." Then Luna looked at us happily and said, "Have a good time. I'm going to get you apple pie." When Luna went downstairs, she asked me, "Kylie, you're not afraid of the outside world?" "I'm afraid, but I'm 162 centimeters tall. But I always pay attention to Friday. I heard that you are also 160 centimeters, and it's difficult for you to go out alone." Then Niaz took my arm and took me to a big mirror in his room and said that now I am 162 centimeters. That's why my clothes can't fit me recently. However, when I looked carefully at Need's face and body, I saw that he was not normal, he was very bad. So I just looked at him. His face was very horrible, as if several skins were tied together. He looked at the image in the mirror and said with a satisfied smile, "Keely, I like you very much. I'll tell my mom when I go to the apple pie. He went downstairs to bring Saibu's feet. I didn't need a good sense of appearance, so I went downstairs and looked around his room. When I opened his closet, I was shocked. There were some strange leathers hanging from 4 hangers. I took one of them out and put it on the floor. The hair, which looked like it had been pulled from the person's head, was also hanging in the person's closet. I said, "What is this?" I threw away that strange leather in fear, and I wanted to run away from that house of terror as soon as possible. I was going downstairs when I heard the voice of Niaz and his mom from the bottom of the stairs. Niaz said to his mom, "He is exactly my height. I look very pretty. That's what I want. Mom, make me a beautiful new dress from Kylie." His mom said, "Yes, dear, because you grew up. The dress didn't fit you anymore, but thank God, someone was found." "Mom, this time, I am sewing a beautiful dress." Through the fences, I saw that they were going up. I brought an apple pie. Mom said that I was afraid. I was covering my mouth. Then I heard Niaz's voice saying, "Open the door. Come play." "Let's open the door. I don't say anything when I see anything," Luna said. "Mom, I'm going now. I'm going to get the keys." I looked around and saw that the only way to escape was to jump out of the window. Suddenly, the door opened and Niaz pulled me from behind. I was walking around when Luna put a knife on my back. Niaz yelled, "Mom, my clothes are torn. You're crazy." And then she sat down and cried and said, "It's all your fault. Mom, you messed up my clothes. Now I didn't have anything to wear. Look at my foot. It was sewn from under the leather. The outside skin was red and full of dead skin cells, and there were so many of them that it didn't look like human skin at all." Luna calmed him down and said it's Mom's fault. I was in a hurry. I thought she's going to jump out of the window now. "Excuse me," Niaz said. "What should we do now? There are so many police everywhere that you can't find new clothes for me anymore." Then Luna looked at me and after thinking for a while, she said, "Niaz, an idea came to my mind. How can we wait for his wounds to heal and heal his skin?" I saw Niaz's face and he was happy with this. He tied my hands and feet and took me underground. It was a handle to bind my hands and feet, and my head was a tool for surgery. They put me on the work table, disinfected it, bandaged it, and started treating my wound so that my wound would heal and they could make healthy skin out of me. Every day they opened my hands, brought me soup, bread, and water, and changed the dressing of my wound. One day, he needed a tablet and showed it to me and said, "Look, you have become famous. Look, you have become famous." From time to time, he showed me the news. They showed my picture in the news, and the presenter said in a voice of despair, "The 6th kidnapping happened in the village." Then they showed my mother crying and begging to find me. When I saw my mother on the news, I burst into tears and begged the needy to take me out of there. But it was no use. With the passage of time, my deep wounds closed. The new clothes were being prepared. Finally, the day of Ness arrived. "Yes, I think it's time to cut it. You need to take off your clothes and lie down." First, he took off his black clothes, and then his clothes, which were made of human skin, and then his cracked red skin, which was hidden under his leather clothes. I saw that his eyes, nose, and mouth turned out to be unrecognizable. Then Niaz lay down on my body and Luna took out her meter and started measuring. Suddenly the bell rang. Luna shook her head worriedly and told Niaz that no one was supposed to come here, just I knew that Niaz would never harm me because he needs my skin. I shouted, "Help me, help me," and Niaz covered my mouth with his hand, but I bit his finger with all my strength. He fell to the ground. I screamed at the same time, "Help me, help me. I'm here in the basement." A little later, the skinning room door was kicked open and the policeman came in and said, "Keely, are you?" I said, "Yes, I am." The police shouted, "Don't take my clothes. Now I have nothing to wear." The police shot him and Niaz died on the spot. Luna, who was caught outside the house by the police, said, Niaz, my dear, what did you do to my daughter?" Finally, I was saved with the help of the police and I was able to see my mom and dad again in the hospital. They were talking about me in the news and saying that a middle-aged woman who has been a seamstress all her life draws 160 centimeters girls to her blood and cuts their skin to make clothes for her daughter who has a rare skin disease.